Hey guys, it's Gary from Rise of the Gay Cinephiles. Just giving a trigger warning that given some of the films within the era we're discussing, these episodes may include discussions surrounding sexual assault and various types of discrimination. And I'd also like to give a disclaimer that although we've done our research and watched many films for this season, we haven't watched every single Millennial teen film. As difficult as it was, we've somehow managed to narrow it down to the most relevant ones. But if we've missed any out that are your favourites, feel free to give us some recommendations. Enjoy the show. Hello, welcome to Rise of the Gay Cinephiles, the show where we, two gay cinephiles who watch way too many films, discuss various themes and eras of cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And for this season, we are still making our way through the teen cinema boom of the late 90s and early noughties. Welcome back once again to Scream As If You Know 10 Things I Hate About Bandcamp, or How Millennial Teen Movies Taught Me Everything I Know About Sex, Friendship, and the American Dream. The 90s are done.
Yes.
Y2K has happened. We're all fucked. The internet's murdered us all. What are we going to do now? Watch more teen films.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we'll speak about it a little more when we go through historical events. But yes, the 90s is over. The 2000s, a new millennium, a new century. Everything's going to be fine. The world's going to be great.
Yeah.
Everything's uphill from 2000.
Absolutely. But speaking of grim times, let's go back to 2026, where we are now, with What's New with Chris and Gary. And as always, with these two-parters, we have a bit of a bumper catch-up, starting with The Young Girls of Rochefort.
Yes, that was a hell of a lot of fun.
I don't know why I have to say this, but it just crossed my mind that if you are just a particular fan of the year 2000, you've only started listening to this podcast, What's New with Chris and Gary is where we talk about what we've been watching.
Okay.
Just in case. You never know. You never know. I always say it assuming that everyone's just a returning listener.
Yeah, so it's what we've been watching, but it's first time watches for us.
So Young Girls of Rochefort is a masterpiece. Much like the Umbrellas of Cherbourg. It's just further proof that Jacques Demy makes perfect musicals.
Yeah, we, should I say, but you love your French cinema. Mm-hmm. It's very French. It's a wonderful musical, so colourful, so vibrant, kind of weird.
Yeah.
Bit off, which we love. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. We watched The Mandalorian and Grogu at the cinema, which was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. I've seen a few people critique the film for just being an extended episode, which is fine. It's a great series.
That's why we're watching it.
But I do feel like people may have been like, oh, I've had to grab popcorn and a drink, and I've had to travel, and it could have been just an extended episode on Disney Plus. Like, I already pay for Disney Plus. Why am I paying extra for a ticket if it's not taking me somewhere? If you understand. No spoilers, but I think the critique is you could have skipped it and you wouldn't have, nothing really would have changed.
Yeah. But I think some films required a big screen, and I think that's one of them.
Yes, yeah, no, I agree with that.
And I adored Finding Emily.
Yes, yeah.
Nice little Manchester comedy. Just filmed around corner from us.
Yeah, so I'm sure you all know, but if you don't, we live in Manchester, United Kingdom, and we love Manchester. I was going to say Manchester, England, but I feel like I would have started breaking into song.
I mean, let's be honest. No one's mistaken us for Manchester, America with our accents.
No, the song from Hair. But yeah, I digress.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
Happy Pride. I digress. Yeah, filmed near us. Very much a love letter to Manchester, the city. We were sat there, and we were those people like, oh, I know that place. Oh, that's around the corner. From... Oh, love that place. So we are maybe biased, but actually, at its heart, a great teen comedy, romantic comedy.
In his 20s. But I was targeted at teens.
Yeah, in 20s, in the same way that a lot of the films we've been watching
Wow.
are people in their 20s. Because I did feel like it was, in some ways, a throwback to millennial teen
Yeah.
comedies. It would have fit in quite well with this season.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
it obviously if it was made 26 years ago.
Yeah. I've been watching some short films by one of my favourite directors, Cecilia Condit, specifically Not a Jealous Bone and Annie Lloyd. Two films about the same subject, but both wildly different, and just absolutely phenomenal. I really think she is a director that has passed a lot of people by and deserves all the attention she can get.
Yeah, she's only done short films, hasn't she?
Yes.
But I mean, they're very artistic. They're very well made. Um, yeah, just great.
Yeah. We also watched, not to sound sophisticated, but we also went to Tate Modern.
Oh, we did.
And we caught Delivery Dancer's Sphere and Salacia. Salacia, very appropriate for Pride Month. It is a queer short film. I thought it was incredible.
Yes. I forgot to log that on Letterboxd.
It was very, very good.
Yeah.
I
It's
love...
on Letterboxd.
It is, indeed.
Oh, wow.
I love watching a short film in a gallery.
Yeah.
You know, call me whatever you want to call me. I'm cultured.
Wanker.
Deal with it. But, you know, it's a film that very much takes a look at trans people, but also many other things. And, you know, the main subject is black trans women. And it's said a lot within a short amount of time, in 6 minutes. And if you are in London, you get a chance, and it's free to go to the Tate Modern, go and watch it.
Yeah.
And Delivered Down to the Sphere is great as well, but Salacia is just like, again, happy Pride Month.
Yeah, I think it's something that doesn't get talked about a lot is short films.
Mm-hmm.
No, Gasp is this month.
Yes, it is.
We have numerous short film showcases.
Over 50 short films.
If you haven't got your tickets, please buy them ASAP. But because a lot of marginalized communities don't get the funding to be able to make feature-length films, they've managed to create very powerful films in a shorter duration.
Yeah.
And I think short films are in many ways overlooked.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's maybe a subject for another time, because that's a kind of worms there. But yeah, let's start celebrating short films.
We should.
Chris needs to start logging them on
apparently
Letterboxd.
so. Apparently so. But also, you know, with that being said, we also watched a phenomenal feature film with To Die For. Nicole Kidman's best role, potentially. I fucking loved it. My first Gus Van Sant, because I don't count Psycho.
Okay.
My first proper Gus Van Sant film, and it was incredible.
Yeah, loved it. Very sort of 90s femme fatale, neo-noir, in many ways. It reminded me of Fargo, which a film I love. I really enjoyed it. Loved Nicole Kidman's performance. Loved her incredibly cunty outfits. It's one of those films where it's been on our watch list for a long time, and we both knew we were giving it 5 stars before we even watched it. And that's not to say, you know, if it was bad, we would have acknowledged that. But we knew in our hearts that we were going to fucking love it. And we did. So there we go.
We watched Universal Soldier. Fun 90s action. Bit of homoeroticism in there.
Terminator ripoff. But the fun kind. Yeah, really a great film. Perfect Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
Fodder, action. Yeah. Butt cheeks.
Absolutely.
Everything you need.
Speaking of, we watched Niagara, which is a film really deserves a lot more attention. Marilyn Monroe giving us serious, instead a very, very camp film.
Yeah, she is quintessential Marilyn Monroe in her appearance. She steps out of the shower, gets out of bed, full face of makeup. Those lips are nothing but red throughout the whole film. But she plays a little bit of a femme fatale herself. She's most well known for comedy and musical and playing it at ditzy blonde, should we say. But in this film, she's calculating and she's I hate to say it, but it's the truth. A Hitchcockian,
it is
fair really... blonde, icy blonde.
Yeah, if you know, it's an overdone critique, but it's a true one, and it's very much a case of this is Hitchcockian.
Yeah, and it's great. I enjoyed the hell out of it, and it's one of those films where we came out of it and we were discussing it. And we were like, oh, do we give it 5 stars? Because it didn't necessarily set the world on fire. It didn't make me look at film differently. But we both were there and we were like, I had a hell of a good time with it. I have no faults. I would watch it again. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's 5 stars.
And for me, I'd say the same about Backrooms.
Backrooms.
Genuinely,
am I the millionth gay man to do that?
It makes me very sad that I didn't achieve what Kane Parsons has achieved at 20 years of age. Oh my god, so impressive! Like really, really impressive what he's done here. When you take something from 4chan and you make a film out of it, it's going to go one of two ways, and usually it's not going to go well. But he really created something incredible here. Really breathed fresh air into found footage. And did so by not overusing it.
So I don't really know the backstory to Backrooms.
So he made the short film and the internet series.
Oh, okay.
And then it's A24 gave him.
So the Backrooms as we know it on YouTube, like when the guy falls through and then it's down into the... That's all him.
Yeah.
And then A24 turned around and said, hey, do you fancy making a feature-length film with this? Oh, wow. Okay.
And that is one of the 2 highest grossing one of the highest grossing films this year.
Oh.
The other being our highlight of the month, again, made by another young director in his 20s, it's Obsession. And 2 of this year's highest grossing films are made by directors in their 20s, and they're both horror films. That's fucking great. I mean, you look at how well Sinners did with the Oscars nominations and such, and The Substance last year, and then this. It's very much an exciting time to be a horror fan.
And both YouTubers as well.
Both YouTubers.
Like, I don't wish to be that guy. I don't want to investigate every single person who's ever successful. But my assumption is that it's a kind of grassroots thing, and it's not not nepotism. It's like, you did a great job on these YouTube videos. Let's give them a chance with a movie, or I've got a great idea, and like really building themselves up and working, and sort of it's 2 films where they're taking a chance and allowing young filmmakers to do something fresh, something that they want to do, giving them the sort of confidence and being quite open, and they made it and everyone fucking loves it.
Yeah, and Blumhouse were very fortunate that they did give Curry Barker a go with this, because this is easily the best Blumhouse film since The Invisible Man. By far. I mean, it's been rough.
I was going to say.
It's been a rough few years.
It's not tough competition.
But this really smashed it out of the park. And it was one of the first horror films that's made me feel physically sick and really uncomfortable. Which means Curry Barker did a good job.
Yeah, genuinely. And I don't... With horror films, I'm not saying, I'm a tough lad or anything like that. But horror films tend not to scare me. And I don't necessarily watch horror films to be scared. I find horror films to be melodramatic and campy at times. And that's the kind of horror that I enjoy. But I really genuinely found this disturbing.
Yeah.
I found the subject matter disturbing. I found the performance from...
Indy Never Acts.
Yeah. as Nikki, I found that incredibly disturbing.
Mm.
Like, really well done to her, and I think she's getting some incredible feedback.
She
Like, it's a
is.
job interview.
She is.
Reviews.
She's getting awards buzz already before we've even
Mm.
reached awards season, and I think it's really well earned. And I really think she could be in talks for award season.
Yeah, really.
With how horror's been recognised recently, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're one of the like two people who hasn't seen Obsession yet, because I'm pretty certain everyone's fucking seen it. If you're a horror fan, you've definitely seen Obsession and Backrooms already. But if not, it's so important to go out there and support young creatives like this, especially when they're making masterpieces. I mean, the thing is, by all accounts, as far as I know, I haven't investigated.
No.
But from appearance, they are straight white men. And is it easier for straight white men to get a foot in the door than it is for people in marginalised communities? Of course. Is it easier for young creatives to get a foot in the door than straight white men in their 30s or 40s who have been in the industry a long time? Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And this is why I have so much respect for them. It's young creatives and YouTubers getting those chances from those studios and making films as good as that. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
And I genuinely have nothing but respect for them. And I'm excited to see what they do next.
Yes.
Do you think it's a result of Talk to Me and bring her back to popularity?
Probably. I think we are looking at maybe the beginnings of a new generation of horror filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think so, actually. And they are, and I kind of hate the term of elevated horror to a certain degree, but they do speak on things.
Yeah.
They do. Obsession in particular speaks on not a modern phenomenon exactly, because men have been an issue since the beginning of time, but it does speak on an issue that's very much in the zeitgeist right now.
Absolutely.
Maybe more than ever, which in turn makes it even more disturbing, but more interesting. And it does speak on something.
Absolutely. Well, we do have some shelf love, our section that celebrates new physical media releases, and this week we have The Devil's Candy, which is an indie horror film starring someone who's been in actually a lot of our podcast films recently.
Yes, that's true.
Can you give his name?
Ethan Embry.
Yes.
Ethan Embry. So, he was in Empire Records. Can't Hardly Wait. Yeah, loads of films, and he stars as a struggling painter who's possessed by satanic forces.
I think you described it best when you said it's the heavy metal Amityville horror.
Yes, yeah. If you like your heavy metal music, you'll love this film.
Yes.
It's heavy. I don't know if it's a thing. I may have made it up, but it's very much in the heavy metal horror genre. I'm sure there's a list on Letterboxd for heavy metal horror.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know if I'm speaking out of terms, but he's also shirtless a lot in it as well.
I mean, there's a selling point.
That is a selling point.
And as always, Second Sight Films have done a fantastic job with the transfer. It looks and sounds amazing. It's full of extras, and it comes in a box set edition with art cards and a booklet. And I feel like The Devil's Candy is one of those films where if you are a fan, you are a fan. And it has a big cult following. And this is essential purchase for any fans of The Devil's Candy. And the other new release that we were sent, another Second Sight release, is a standard edition of the Ginger Snaps trilogy.
Oh.
Which is very on brand, because we are going to be talking about one of those films later in this episode.
Yes.
But for now, just talking about the release itself. You can get the first film as well as its 2 sequels in this box set, which is chocker full of special features and again, amazing transfers from the great folks over at Second Sight Films, who I feel like they have a real thing for millennial horror. Second Sight Films, some of their releases, they know their audience and they never let their audience down. There's always fantastic release after fantastic release. And this is no exception. You know, these films have never looked better. You know, we're obviously going to get into it later, but Ginger Snaps is one of the essential millennial horror films. So if you want to check that out and its sequels, you know what to do. They're both, that and The Devil's Candy, are out now from Second Sight Films. So go and check those out. But speaking of Ginger Snaps...
Yes. The biscuit.
The film. Speaking of Ginger Snaps,
yes.
Let's jump in our time machine and go back to the year 2000 when the best-selling album is a tie between One by the Beatles, and the Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. The Beatles. That's completely random.
It's a compilation.
Yeah,
I think it was to celebrate the I don't know what you call it, the launch of their official website, and they sold the CD.
The best-selling video games are Pokemon Gold and Silver, and I had them.
Yeah, so did I.
We contributed towards that.
Gold. I had gold. Did you have gold and silver?
I had gold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I had the gold Game Boy as well to go with it. Like I had the full.
Oh, don't we get package. Posh? Wow. Oh, wow. Well, bloody fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, Pokemon was everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere. I was obsessed. I had the poster. I probably could still name you, of the original 150, a good few of them. It's been a while since I participated in anything Pokemon, but apparently the games are still pretty good. Yeah.
The highest grossing film is Mission Impossible 2.
Right, okay.
I mean, it's not the worst of the franchise.
No.
That would be the latest one. And it has a fun third act.
Yeah.
Classic, John Woo with the doves.
John Woo is a phenomenal filmmaker. And I understand sometimes it's the franchise or it's the studio. Or is it the IP?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the IP that sells a film. But it's still nice to think that John Woo had, as a director, the highest grossing film of the year 2000.
Of course. I do think it was a film that suffered from studio interference a lot. But also it's that Metallica song and the Limp Bizkit song. So it is so 2000.
So 2000.
The most viewed TV show in the US is Survivor. Which is definitely a sign of the times and was absolutely referenced in one of the films we're talking about today.
Survivor was and continues to be huge in America. We had one season here in the UK a few years after, like in the mid 2000s, and it flopped big time. We just... It's the difference between Big Brother in America and the UK as well. It's all very strategic.
Yeah.
It's all very much a game show, and it's about manipulating people in the situation. Whereas what we like and what we have in Big Brother is that you're either a prick or we love you. There's no middle ground. We either hate you or you're going to win, and that's it. There's no manipulation. There's no games. There's none of that business.
Well, keeping us busy here in the UK was Coronation Street.
Yes, as it should be.
The best picture... Sorry?
Coronation Street, the best soap?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, it doesn't matter anymore because they've all gone to shit, but...
Apparently.
Back in the day, yes. Best picture winner at the Oscars is American Beauty, which we discussed briefly last episode.
Yes.
And I was obsessed with Steps, Pokemon, Backstreet Boys, and Star Wars. Going on holiday to Skegness.
I was still obsessed with wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Still watching, as it was known back then,
Everyone at primary
WWF.
school was obsessed with wrestling and Slipknot.
Slipknot, yeah, Slipknot. I don't think I'd quite gone to my first concert. I think that was the year after. So you'll have to wait.
Mine was Backstreet Boys the year before.
Okay. For mine, you'll have to... My first proper concert that I chose to, and I think I paid money to see it. So yeah, so you'll have to wait till 2001 for that little tidbit, who my first concert band was. You've probably never heard of. But yeah, Pokemon, absolutely. Probably still obsessed with the PlayStation. Yeah, I can't think of anything really significant. Oh no, of course, the year 2000.
Yeah.
The year 2000, January the 1st, I finally got to watch a little snippet of Scream 2. We went to a street party around my mum's friend's house, and I think I had my first sip of alcohol, WKD Blue. If you know, you know. And we were having a party and the TV was on and no one was taking any notice, and it was Scream 2 on the TV. And it was very specifically, spoiler alert, the scene where Randy dies.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew, before I'd even watched Scream 1, I knew that Randy died in Scream 2. So there we go.
Wow.
That's a core memory for you.
Uh-huh.
It's all film based. That's all my core memories of media that I consumed. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's what was going on with us. What was going on elsewhere in the world?
So, on January the 1st... Oh, Scream 2 premiered on... No, excuse me. The Y2K bug didn't happen.
No.
Didn't happen.
Oh,
Were you worried about it? I think I was too young to be worried about it.
Honestly, had no idea what was going on.
No, I'd heard of it, and you had, I assume, but I assume you were too young to care about it. On February the 4th, The Sims is released. I think I had The Sims 2. I don't think I had the first one. On April 14th, Metallica sued Napster.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have Napster. I don't know if we're allowed to admit this. I had LimeWire later on down the line.
Oh, no.
So I did. I'm not going to lie.
Wow.
I did. But then I got a mobile phone, a Nokia at one point, and I could record off the radio. So I did that instead. Did you ever...
I mean, I don't want to incriminate myself.
Oh, get over yourself.
No, CDs, like way down the line when, you know.
Yeah, but Napster became it. Like,
I was never part of that period.
No, but it was the beginning of, I think, really the internet taking over, and MP3s and all of that business. April 22nd, the big number change occurred in the UK, where lots of telephone number codes changed due to the UK running out of numbers. Now, Coventry was one of the big ones that changed its area code, and I think I remembered that happening. I think it was big news. May 23rd, Eminem releases the incredibly popular The Marshall Mathers LP. He would go on to become one of the decade's top-selling artists. Huge. He was everywhere. And he informed, I think, a lot of... Or, he encapsulated a lot of the kind of crude, immature media that we've been talking about and will continue to talk about. On May 24th, Israeli troops withdraw from Lebanon after 22 years of occupation. On May 31st, US reality show Survivor premiered. On June 29th, I'm sick of talking about him already, but Eminem's mother goes to court claiming defamation of character in a $10 million civil suit after taking exception to the line, "My mother smokes more dope than I do," from her son's single, My Name Is.
Wow.
keeping it classy. September 15th, the 27th Summer Olympics opens in Sydney, Australia. On November the 7th, George W. Bush wins the presidential election against Al Gore after the Supreme Court rules in Bush's favour after some funny business in Florida that we do not have time to get into.
Wow.
On December the 13th, Al Gore delivers his concession speech, officially confirming Bush as the next president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the moron in charge, potentially the dumbest American president up until 2016.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's definitely been outdone now.
Yes. You should probably thank him though.
Well,
for being a huge influence on one of your favorite albums of all time.
That is true.
But yes, we are officially at the end of the year. Well, I suppose the beginning of 2001 into the Bush administration. Part 2, the junior.
So there wasn't really a lot in 2000 then, especially in the second half of the year. I'll fill it up. Don't worry. 28th of April 2000, Scream 3 was released.
Oh, okay.
Which we won't be discussing because it's definitely not a teen film.
No.
But it has to be mentioned because two iconic things came from it. Parker Posey.
Okay.
And
she didn't have a career before.
Well, that performance. And Courtney Cox's bangs.
There we go. That is true.
Definitely worthy of a mention.
That was big news.
Wow, there really wasn't a lot in the second half of the year.
There wasn't a huge
I missed
amount.
those days.
Like I did.
I mean, George Bush is really shit. But
yeah, I mean,
wow.
there were things. I do tend to have a look at things that we like our lives in 2000, but also that would inform a lot of the things that we talk about in the. I'm sure that a lot of things happened.
Was this Gareth Gates and Will Young here? Or
outside of America and the UK? No, 2000 was not.
Was that 2001? Okay.
2001.
So we'll be getting into Pop Idol and stuff like that.
Like
next episode.
I think really we'd probably look more into stuff that we remember.
Yes.
Like 2000, I'm still kind of struggling to remember, really, apart from Scream 2 on the telly.
Well, one thing that was memorable about it was the films. And we'll get into it now, starting with Final Destination.
Why did you get off the plane?
I got this feeling. I saw Death's plan. It's not finished. I know who's next. What are you, God now?
I'll see you soon.
Rated R.
Written and directed by James Wong, co-written by Glenn Morgan and Jeffrey Reddick, starring Devon Sawa, Ali Larter, Kerr Smith, and Tony Todd. The premise is, after getting a premonition about a plane crash on his school trip, Alex, a student, saves a few of his classmates. However, their situation gets complicated when death starts chasing them. This was originally going to be the concept for an episode of The X-Files, which was inspired by Soul Survivor. In this film, a woman who was a sole survivor of a plane crash starts to be haunted by dead people that death uses temporarily as vessels, trying to kill her to correct its plan and killing everyone who suspects it.
Who starred in that? Was
I
it
don't
someone
know,
famous?
but that is the exact plot of the film.
Yeah.
It's one of the films that actually uses real life to a certain extent to help the plot along. So it not only does it borrow footage from the crash of the TWA Flight 800, it borrows other things as well. So the July 17th, 1996 flight was carrying a high school French club. It exploded suddenly and was investigated for a possible deliberate act causing the accident. First a bomb, then a surface-to-air missile. As with this film, it was ultimately decided that the crash was a result of mechanical failure. Yeah. Opinions on that?
It's the thing is, so many films are informed by world experiences.
Yeah.
Like that is what films are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think maybe, I suppose, going to France maybe is a little...
Yeah, very on the nose.
Yeah, maybe they could have gone to a different country. Yeah, the direct references to a real life incident,
And using footage of it
particularly
as well.
because this is ultimately a supernatural teen slasher film. It's not going into great depths about grief or death or anything like that. It is, in my opinion, like a post-Scream version of The Omen.
Yeah.
Just with none of that boring religious stuff.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a bit like, maybe you could have changed it a little bit from the real life shit.
Well, initially, it would have been a film that we wouldn't discuss on the podcast because in the first draft of the script, the survivors to get off the plane were 7 strangers. Due to teen slashers' popularity at the time, the survivors were changed to a high school class. Not played by high school students.
No.
Kerr Smith and Amanda Detmer were actually 27 at the time of filming.
Wow.
Only 5 years younger than Kristen Cloak, who plays the teacher, who was 31. Yeah, so Final Destination. Talk about films that absolutely changed the world and changed the genre and gave us something new, fresh, and exciting. Even though, like you said, very much millennial Omen, it's still, it felt new. It felt exciting.
Yeah,
and it's only gotten better as well. Like, this first film is great. I actually, one of my older reviews, I called it dumb fun. I actually disagree with my older self.
Okay.
I think this is a very clever film. I think it's a fucking good horror film. And I don't think it's dumb. I think it's, yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's dumb, but I do think that it knows why it exists. It exists to set up elaborate death scenes.
Yes.
That's why it exists. It is a slasher film, but the slasher isn't Jason, it's not Freddy, it's death itself. It's invisible. So it can play on so much in terms of these elaborate setups, these scenes. Like, I couldn't really tell you too much about the characters themselves. They're likable, which is a plus. Like, I am invested in them, but it's not like I know too much about them, particularly the ones that I know are going to die.
Yeah, and I think it's a scary premise. You know, the idea of a slasher film where you can't see the killer, that's really scary, and it really plays to its advantage, and there are some really creepy scenes in this. Again, it's not even the best of the franchise, but it's one that I really appreciate for kickstarting it. As for the characters, Alex Browning, I don't know, I feel like he's very much a nothing character as the lead. Claire Rivers is obviously your standard weird girl who...
It's a bit of a know-it-all.
It's a bit of a know-it-all,
nice.
But she's mysterious, you know. Where are her parents?
Yeah.
Why is she always on her own? And I think she gets better development or a better character arc in the second film, but I think she's cool here. Like, obviously, you know, we liked a lot of alternative stuff. You'd want to be friends with Claire Rivers.
Yes.
And a name like that, Claire Rivers.
Great name.
Carter Horton is your jock, your bully, you know.
Yeah, it's stereotypes.
Terrier's the bitchy girl who goes out with him.
Yeah.
And of course, Billy Hitchcock is actually Sean William Scott trying his best to not be typecast as Stifler, because he's the kind of bumbling moron.
Yeah, I forget that this is really early in his career, like really early. Because I was like, I was surprised that he had such a small role. But then I realized, I mean, American Pie was his first film, so this is really early in his career. Yeah, they're all archetypes of high school movie characters. that aspect of things, I don't remember.
Hmm.
Like, I remember their names because they're all bloody references to
Yeah.
filmmakers, which is very post-Scream. But what I remember is the death scenes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
as simple as that, really.
But would you not say you remember the icon that is Val Luton?
Val Luton.
The poor teacher who did not deserve her grisly end, Val Luton.
She probably had the most elaborate.
She has the best death of the film.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
It is a nasty scene. And she puts on Mum's favourite beforehand.
She most certainly does. Which
The John Denver.
We might reference later.
But yeah, no, absolutely, you're right. The death is the scene stealer here. And Tony Todd. Let's not forget Tony Todd.
Tony Todd is great.
He is phenomenal,
Yes.
as always, as William Bloodworth.
Do you know what Tony Todd should have done? Rest in peace. He would have done an amazing job as now I don't know how to describe it. Like the crypt keeper from
Tales from the
Crypt.
The host
like
of an
a
anthology
host
TV
of an
show.
anthology TV series.
Yeah.
He would have done that really
He would
well
have.
because that's essentially what he's doing
Yeah.
here.
But yeah, death is the scene stealer. With all these ridiculous ways of people dying. The bus death is iconic.
Yeah.
One of the
Fantastic
greatest
jump
jump
scare.
scares in millennial horror.
Do you think a reference to Cat People?
Potentially, the fact that it's a bus.
Yeah, the original jump scare.
The original jump scare being a bus just appearing and then doing it in this as a bus hitting someone is definitely a clever move.
Yeah.
It is. It's incredibly nostalgic. It was amongst. I think I watched Final Destination 2 first.
Mm-hmm.
That was amongst some of the first horror films I watched, and then I went back to this, and of course, Final Destination 3. I'm pretty certain every person on this planet has seen Final Destination
Yes.
3, and you can't go to a theme park without someone referencing it. I mean, the best of the franchise, may I say, dare I say, should I say, was actually the one released last year, Bloodlines, which was incredible.
Because that kind of
because it's
did something.
Yeah, it did something, and this is a sort of format that never ends.
No,
it always you can make so many films from this premise, and with the invented deaths, and it will never get old because there's always going to be something new that you can do.
Yeah,
like with the latest one, having the tower building. I don't remember the exact name for it, but something like that. It's like I never would have thought of that. The roller coaster's obvious. The plane's obvious. The motorway pileup is obvious. But then you get films like the racing car one. I didn't see come in, and it's the worst one, but still great idea. The bridge in 5, there's always going to be something new. Because there's always going to be something that people are afraid of, and by all accounts, this franchise is going to keep giving people new fears.
Yeah, but it's also bringing it into real life. It's stuff that we can have legitimate fears about. Like I don't have fears about a guy in a red and green sweater killing me in my dreams, but I do have fears about potentially a plane crash.
Yeah.
I do have fears about slipping in my own home and hurting myself.
Yeah.
Now, these are quite elaborate in Final Destination, but they're all, bar a few, kind of within the realms of possibility, which is why no one believes them that death is coming for them.
Yeah.
Like, death is essentially fate, really, in these films.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bringing that into the home. It's why Halloween was so scary, because it brought it into our safe spaces.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Final Destination does so well.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that I find it incredibly scary necessarily, but it is kind of like, oh, this is intriguing.
Yeah.
Remind me not to put my knives upwards in the dishwasher. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, remind me to check for chipped mugs.
Yeah.
and exploding stuff. You know, it's bringing that into the home, and I think that's why it resonates so much with people, and why the franchise has been so incredibly popular.
Yeah. And where it falls as a teen film is it's solely just to make money.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
there's no reason for the characters.
Yeah,
in this
this
film
could
to
have.
be teens.
If anything, it could have been a little more intriguing if it wasn't just all teens.
Yeah.
And then we could have gotten some backstory.
As the sequels go on to
Yeah.
So actually, this film actually taught us nothing about sex, friendship, and the American dream.
Absolutely fuck all, but it's a great film and an enjoyable
great
film.
Cautionary tale about how you have your knives.
Exactly.
Great cautionary tale about what to do when you're listening, what not to do when you listen to John Denver.
Yeah.
IMDb rating, it's got a 6.7 out of 10, a 3.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I give it a 4 out of 5.
I give it 4 out of 5.
Soundtrack rating, 7 out of 10.
I give it 8 out of 10. I enjoyed a lot of the songs.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the score.
Yeah, the score's very good. The score's probably better than the Needle
did
Drops.
enjoy the score.
But the best song for me is Into the Void by Nine Inch Nails.
Nice. Mine is, of course, Mum's favourite, Rocky Mountain High by John Denver. I fucking love that song. Its use in the film is incredibly camp.
That is true.
Every time I listen to it, I think Mum's favourite.
Yeah.
I do think obviously it references a lot of real life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, John Denver unfortunately died in a plane crash.
Yes.
Do you think that's inappropriate, or do you think it's clever?
No, I think it's clever. I think if you're really going to go for it, referencing the real life stuff, you might as well go all out.
It's true.
Fashion rating, I gave it a 6 out of 10, and that's generous.
I gave it 5 out of 10.
It's 6 for Clear Rivers.
What, and her hair. And I do love Ali Larter's hair in this film.
Yeah.
Generic 2000s teen casual Gap stuff. I don't remember a single outfit.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it Devon Sowers? Did he have spiky hair? Did he have frosted tips in this?
I don't think so.
No. No frosted tips.
I think,
are you sure?
Maybe there's something in there.
I think they're frosted tips.
Okay.
Let me check the back.
You say you don't remember outfits. Terry's outfit before she's hit by the bus?
Oh, they're not frosted tips. I'm sorry. Oh, Terry's outfit before. What? Just
the midriff?
Well, okay. It was
we're
2000.
entering. We're entering the era of midriff now. It's going to be in a lot of these films
Lots of
going
belly
forward,
buttons.
leading up to Catwoman, the ultimate midriff.
Yes.
But that would probably be my best outfit of the film. The hoodie over the striped top with
there we are.
Midriff. Believable teens, no.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Moving on from groundbreaking horror to making fun of groundbreaking horror, it's Scary Movie.
He knows what they did. He knows where they live.
You're behind the couch.
What? Oh, he knows how to party. Scary Movie. I see dead people. Rated R. In theaters everywhere Friday.
Directed by Keenen Ivory Wayans, written by Sean Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Buddy Johnson, Phil Bowman, Jason Freeberg, and Aaron Seltzer. My God, with that many writers, I'm not to spoil anything. You should be achieving higher than a 3 out of 5, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. That many writers.
And too many cooks spoilt the broth, I think.
Starring Anna Faris, Regina Hall, Sean Wayans, Marlon Wayans, and premises a year after disposing of the body of a man they accidentally killed, a group of dumb teenagers are stalked by a bumbling serial killer. Originally titled Scream. No, the other way around. The original title for Scream.
Oh yeah,
it was originally called Scary Movie.
Yeah.
The script for this film is actually a combination of 2 scripts Dimension Films brought in 1998. Last Summer I Screamed Because Halloween Fell on Friday the 13th by the Wayans brothers.
Okay.
And Phil Berman. And Scream If You Know What I Did Last Halloween by Jason Freeberg and Aaron Seltzer. The latter 2 are the 2 of the 6 writers of Scary Movie who went on to make Date Movie, Epic Movie, and all of that shit.
So, have you seen Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th?
I have, and we're discussing it next episode.
Oh, okay, good.
Save it for that. When Anna Faris,
You think I should know this?
when Anna Faris landed a part in the film, she was working in an ad agency and was only a week away from moving to her company's London office. Anna Faris, I love you.
Yes.
I love her so much. And I also love Regina Hall, who was almost not in this film. The role of Brenda was offered to the late R&B sensation Aliyah, who declined the role out of respect to singer and AI enthusiast Brandy Norwood, as it was parodying her role in the film I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, okay.
Imagine Aliyah in that role.
I haven't seen her act. As far as I know, she was only in 2 films of note.
Mm-hmm.
And they were serious films.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if she could do comedy. She didn't really come across as...
No.
I mean, I haven't seen many interviews with her. Love her music, like, really. I fucking loved her music.
Mm-hmm.
And still do, obviously. And Brandy. Despite
the AI and pleasantries. Despite the fact that both Anna Faris and Regina Hall are the main characters of the first 4 films in this franchise and sell tickets for this franchise and keep this franchise alive on the internet and just completely carry this entire franchise on their backs.
And are by far the best
things
part
about
of the films and wonderful comedians.
Neither are on the poster for the first film.
There we go.
As they were largely unknown at the moment, and these are the breakout roles for the both. So, obviously, you gotta put on the characters you can sexualize the most, and the men.
Yes.
The original script featured a cameo for Jamie Lee Curtis, as Cindy would discover her hiding in a closet in her house whilst the killer was chasing her up the stairs.
That would be funny.
That'd be funny.
That would be funny.
And you know what? A fair bit of this film is funny.
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot that works here. The thing is, Scream is one of the greatest horror films ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I Know What You Did Last Summer is a lot of fun. Both of those films, though, they provide easy access for parody.
Yes.
Which is funny because Scream is somewhat of a parody itself.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many moments where you look at the jokes in Scary Movie and you're like, oh, yeah, that actually makes sense. It really makes sense.
Yeah.
The entire opening sequence, the opening sequence of Scary Movie is hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the one sequence in the film that doesn't miss a beat. It's all the jokes are so obvious, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing with I Know What You Did Last Summer, that we hit a boot, where's the foot? It's really funny.
Yeah.
But it's a frustrating film to watch because when it's funny, it's really funny. But the sections that haven't aged well really haven't aged well.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of I'm all for leaving films as a product of their time and leaving them in the past, understanding that and enjoying them. But oh my god, into the year 2000, were we really not past fucking trans jokes in films?
Well, I don't think we're past it. I think it was the beginning.
That is true.
Really.
I mean, I was going to say that with the gay jokes.
I think it was because for a hell of a long time, queer characters and trans characters were seen as evil.
Yeah.
They had to die by the end of the film because they were bad people. They were usually murderers, or killers, or just inherently bad. So what we tend to get moving forward is that instead of looking them at evil characters, filmmakers start to punch down and they start to ridicule them.
Yeah.
They make them. They're the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
They're not taken seriously at all. Which I don't know if it's worse or better. Again, there's a can of worms we haven't got time for here. But that's where we start going into... And that's where the word gay being used as something bad starts coming into fruition. Because it starts as a joke in films. It starts as complete... And we'll actually discuss it in Loser as well. But these kind of films create a culture where... anything stupid, anything silly, anything like things that aren't even that fucking gay are described as gay. Like, if this film had, and this film does, but going forward in things, it's like, unless two people of the same gender are having sex with each other, it's not gay.
No.
But that's where we get.
Yeah. So there are just three things in this that really don't work well. And again, you know, they're significant things that really drag it down. So first of all, you have the Miss Man joke.
Yes.
That is, for me, the worst part of this
It
film.
is. Yeah.
There's just no excuse for it
No.
whatsoever.
It's not even parodying anything in a film.
It
has absolutely no reference to any other film.
Yeah. A part of me thought it may have been the gym teacher in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, because I feel like they tried to, like the office setup and the fact it's a gym teacher, I feel like they tried to make her look like him a fair bit. Maybe that's just me.
I feel
That's
the
what I
joke
felt like.
was, I'm not even, and you know, forgive me if I'm misunderstanding the nuances of this, but I didn't think the joke was necessarily that the character was trans.
It's the predatory.
Feel like it was the fact that it was a man pretending to be a woman in order to be voyeuristic and sexually inappropriate with young women. That was the joke.
Yeah. As soon as those
which
balls,
is transphobic in itself.
As soon as the balls fall out, that's the joke.
Absolutely,
that's the joke there. And that could that is absolutely. It can be seen as there is a man pretending to be a woman to get closer to girls in high school, but I've always taken it as the character is trans. I feel like because of the voice that's being put on as well, and it's abysmal. It's not funny.
And it's the kind of looking back now, that kind of humor was really prevalent.
It really was.
There's lots of music videos. I'm sure and I'm not an expert on Eminem, thank God, but I'm sure a lot of his music videos made fun of masculine women.
Yeah.
I watched wrestling religiously, and there were wrestlers who were ridiculed as women because they were too masculine, and they were put into certain boxes, and then you had the more feminine women who were less athletic, but they were looked at differently. It's really a sign of the times.
It is,
but completely unnecessary.
And the thing is, you know, I'd like to say, have we learned? Have we come a long way from it? But unfortunately, we saw the latest scary movie over the weekend, and by all accounts, a trans actor was cast in the film. Fantastic. That's really progressive. But the repetitive joke was constantly about pronouns and misgendering.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets to the point where the film's tagline was, we're going to go all out, we're going to offend everyone. That's wonderful, whatever. You kind of failed because it wasn't really that offensive. But
it just wasn't funny.
It just wasn't funny. But, I mean, call me too woke, happy to be that guy. But trans people just not go through enough right now.
Yeah.
Like, there are some jokes you actually don't have to include. You could put the trans representation in there.
Yeah.
Because by all accounts, Shawn Wayans has a trans kid.
Yeah.
Put some trans representation in there. Try and make up for the Miss Man bullshit. You know? Do that. But you don't have to make a joke around it.
No.
Like, trans people are being ridiculed enough as it is all the fucking time on the internet by fucking right-wing morons, and people just haven't got fucking two brain cells to rub together. If that's not happening, then they're being demonized by politicians, or they're being demonized by a fucking boring failed. Well, I mean, unfortunately she's very successful. I'd love to say she's a failed author, but a fucking boring woman who can't sort the mold out in a fucking bedroom. And it's just all these things put together. You actually don't have to make fun of trans people. You didn't have to back then. You definitely don't have to now. It's like, it's so old. I'm just fucking sick of it.
I feel like we're at that point now where real representation is just to allow trans characters to exist.
People to exist. Like,
just, this is a trans actor playing a trans role, but the joke isn't about their transness.
Yeah, I mean the fucking train scene from the trailer where it's joking about the pronouns, like, oh, he's stabbing her. It's like, no, it's they them. That is treated in the same way as the cinema scene in the first film, where's the comparison there?
Yeah.
How is it the same thing?
Yeah.
Why are you recreating that scene, but with someone being firm about their pronoun? I don't fucking get it. Like,
Yeah.
what is that?
Yeah.
It's, yeah. Anyway, that's a rant about completely different film. And
Exactly.
That's Happy Pride Month. There's my rant
See,
about how the world needs to be kinder to trans people.
You know that we didn't enjoy the new Scary Movie.
We didn't, and we firmly say trans rights on this podcast.
Yes,
and if you do not like that, then see ya. Still give us a 5-star review. Anyway, yeah, back to this. So the two other things that piss me off about Scary Movie is the Doofy character. Again, brought back in the new one, no reason to. But the Doofy character, you know, again, a popular thing in the early 2000s was making fun of people with disabilities. And if you're being an equal opportunities offender, fine. But it's fucking ran into the ground, which leads me to my third problem, is Ray and his sexuality. Do you know what? At first, one and two of the jokes actually made me chuckle. After that, it's just constant.
Oh my
it's just
God.
every fucking scene. He's gay, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay. We fucking know. And then it goes on to Scary Movie 2 and it's the same joke. Scary Movie 6, the same fucking joke.
And it's a lot of the humor is about him doing stereotypical gay stuff.
Well, being quite rapey, let's be honest.
That's what I was going to say. It's either that or it's constant references to him sexually assaulting men. And he's closeted, so he keeps sexually assaulting men. Like, that is not good representation. No. That is really homophobic. And it's fucking boring.
And it's not
tired.
Funny.
And it's just constant over and over. And it has no real reference or parody to any of the films that the film is referencing.
Because like, who is he even supposed to be?
Exactly. The
like
scene...
Ray was Freddie Prinze Jr. and I know what he did last summer.
Yeah, he wasn't
very gay.
No, and I think that's the problem with. And I know we're going back to it, but I'll say my piece and we'll be done with it. The newest Scary Movie film is that the new Scary Movie film didn't deal with how the original films dealt with gay and trans characters. If it had said, hold our hands up and we're going to parody ourselves, that would have been great. That would have been so fresh and so refreshing, and it'd be like, wow, you know. But what it did was it parodied modern takes on that. It parodied the people like us who were offended by that.
Yeah.
And that's the joke. Whereas it should have been more self-reflective and said, okay, we hold our hands up. This wasn't funny. We can make fun of ourselves. Do you understand what I mean?
But it is self-reflective in the way that they're constantly patting themselves on the back.
Yeah.
Acting like the first two films were two of the funniest films ever created. And it's, you know, sometimes it feels like the camera's just rolling, they don't even know, and they're just having a chat amongst themselves about how great they are.
Yeah.
It's fucking shit.
And this film, Scary Movie 2000, is so confusing when they got the same fucking name. Scary Movie 2000, like you said, is a film of two halves. The half where they detour from parody, they detour from parodying Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, all of that, where they force these random gay, trans jokes or weed smoking jokes.
Oh god, don't even get me started on that.
That's where it really lost me, and it was too frequent, and it bored me and it annoyed me. But then there are some actually genuinely hilarious jokes on the flip side.
Yeah.
So stuff like Cindy throwing grandma down the stairs.
Yeah.
The parody of Scream 2, absolutely hilarious.
White woman in danger.
White woman in danger.
And the cops arrive in seconds.
Yeah. What are you waiting for? Absolutely hilarious.
The cop when he shows his pictures and he's like, "Oh, could you take a look at these, please?"
Yeah.
And it's just pictures of him in his underwear.
Yeah, that's funny. The movie theatre scene.
Yeah.
It's probably
Iconic.
aged the best. Absolutely iconic. Really great.
Incredibly relatable in 2026.
Exactly. And a clear reference and parody of Jada Pinkett Smith in Scream 2.
Yeah.
Like, really great comedy there. And as black filmmakers, when they do speak about black representation in horror films, that's also great.
Yeah.
That's also wonderful and interesting and funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's their unique viewpoint.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's actually incredibly refreshing that Scary Movie was a success because it was made by black filmmakers. And it is technically in the horror genre. Yes, it's mainly a comedy, but it's in the horror genre, and you don't get that very often.
No.
What sours the whole film is the other stuff.
It is, and it's such a shame because those moments, those fantastic moments, and the fantastic comedic performances by Anna Faris and Regina Hall, like, and even even Shannon Elizabeth.
I think we did her a little bit dirty just then without mentioning her. She's a great comedian too.
Yeah, I think those performances and the better jokes in the film, it is why it's so frustrating, because the potential is there for something so much better. And I feel like this franchise has never provided that. It's always shown hints at it. Like, even in the second film, there's a handful of really funny jokes in it, but mostly, even worse than this, it's just a load of shit. And then
it's the crude humor.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
If they just stuck with the parodies and stuck with that and those takes on horror, it really would be so much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was a gigantic success, and as for teen cinema, it holds a mirror up to teen horror. And it makes fun of how ridiculous it can be, and those points are valid. I think sometimes it's impossible to watch Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer without thinking of this film.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it did lead to the creation of some of the worst films ever made. Like, genuinely.
Thankfully, I've not watched.
We will be discussing Not Another Teen Movie coming up, and that is perhaps one of the last good parody films until last year's Naked Gun. But aside from Not Another Teen Movie and this film, and I'd say Scary Movie 3, I'd give that a pass. Everything else, like your date movie, epic movie, Meet the Spartans, fucking dance flick, superhero movie, it's all a load of bullshit. It's all just like really lazy comedy, taking the worst parts of Scary Movie and just thriving off it. And I don't know how so many of those got made.
They were successful. I mean, I never watched them. What's your history with this film? Because I think we rented it.
I watched this before Scream.
We had a sleepover. I think I watched it after Scream and after I Know What You Did Last Summer. And we had a sleepover, and that's when I watched it on VHS. And then maybe watched it sometime afterwards. But I never watched any of the sequels or any of the Meet the Spartans, date movie, dance flip, or any of that stuff.
I watched this probably within a year of its release. Like, I think my parents had it on VHS or DVD, and I was allowed to watch it for some reason at a really young age. So a lot of the jokes actually kind of went over my head.
Yeah.
Especially because I hadn't seen the films that were parodied.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of, I think I appreciated more once I watched those films. Like, oh, okay, I can see the joke now. I get it. But also, it's annoying because it spoiled the end of the Scream for me.
Yeah,
so
that's true,
I knew how Scream was going to fucking end because of this film. But yeah, it exists. It's not a boring rewatch. Like, like we've said, there are things in here that are funny. But it's not one I am going to rush back to anytime soon.
There's enough compilations on YouTube and such. I just stick with them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'll ever watch the film as a whole ever again. I don't really feel the need.
Well, it has an IMDb rating of 6.3 out of 10. Letterboxd rating of 3.2 out of 5. I gave it 3 out of 5.
I gave it 2.5 out of 5.
Soundtrack rating, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, yeah. I enjoyed
best
a lot of the
song
songs.
for me is The Only Way to Be by Save Ferris.
Nice. the best song for me, and I know it's a joke in the context of the film, but I love the song. It's "I Don't Want to Wait" by Paula
Yeah.
Cole.
Fashion rating 2 out of 10. It's fucking rough.
I gave it 5 out of 10 because Shannon Elizabeth and Regina Hall are trying their very
They
best.
are trying their best.
When Shannon Elizabeth makes that quick change in the car park, I was living for it. So
believable teens, no, but that's the joke.
Absolutely not.
That's
but
the joke.
yes, that is the joke.
Next up, we are straying away from horror briefly for Loser.
Critics are losing it for Loser. It's the best comedy of the summer.
Great hat. Did the producers of Fargo have a garage sale?
Loser is a real winner.
Looks like you banged me pretty bad. Let's put some ice on it.
Loser. Rated PG-13. Opens everywhere Friday.
Written and directed by Amy Heckerling, starring Jason Biggs, Mina Savari, Greg Kinnear, and Zach Orth. The premise is a college student, branded a loser by his roommates and booted from the dorm, falls in love with a co-ed who has eyes for their condescending professor. So this film exists, and it could have existed as an R-rated film.
Yes.
In a February 2017 feature at The Ringer that interviewed Amy Heckerling and wrote about her entire career, she said the main reason this film failed is that the studio insisted it be delivered as a PG-13 film, even though it was intended by everyone else from Heckerling to the since departed studio executives who had greenlit the production as an R-rated comedy. The studio said that R-rated comedies weren't welcomed by enough audiences and forced the film to be watered down considerably. Heckerling said that the movie failed because audiences could tell it was not doing what it intended to do.
Yes.
Now, the music video of the song Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus, iconic. When we watched this for the podcast, the first time I watched the film, but I've seen that music video 1,000 times. It features the characters of the film as the song features on the soundtrack during the opening credits. Unlike the film, the music video is set at high school, and Dora dates a bully jock and not a sleazy college professor. Now, this film has a case of the Jennifer's Bodies about it. This film was mismarketed to death. The trailer, the music video by Wheatus, it all makes it look like it's a quirky American Pie-esque teen comedy.
Yes.
But what it actually is a teen comedy by all accounts, but a teen dramedy. It's actually an incredibly serious and sincere film that happens to also double as a great, charming rom-com. And to be honest, I fucking loved it. I thought it was so good, but it's such a shame that this mismarketing just didn't give it the life that it deserved, and the insistence of the studio to make it PG-13.
Yeah.
It never should have been PG-13.
No, because it's quite a
It's
dark film.
It's a dark
It's
film.
quite dark. There's a lot of dark humour in it, and it speaks on a lot of quite dark subject matters. The film is basically Jason Biggs being incredibly lonely and being bullied in college by 3 sex offenders. And Mina Savari is sleeping with a horrible professor and trying not to become homeless.
Yeah, it's the story of toxic college culture.
Yeah.
But the focuses are bullying and the treatment of women.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's, and that's not to say that it not being R-rated completely ruined the film. I like the film. It's one of those films that it's slightly off, really, which I like, but also at the heart, it's a very sweet and tender love story.
It is, and Amy Heckerling is a genius when it comes to making teen comedies. She knows what she's doing, and this is no exception.
Exactly. 2 incredibly likable leads.
Yeah.
I think Mina Savari and Jason Biggs had really great chemistry together. I really felt for their characters. I really enjoyed the film as a whole. I do agree that I do feel like it could have gone further if it was R-rated. But the film at hand, I actually had a great time with.
Yeah. It's one of those where it's such a minor thing, but because of American Pie, you'd think that seeing Jim and Heather in a relationship would be really weird, but actually it really does work because they really are great actors when it comes to these kind of films. And yeah, especially Mina Savari, I found such a big appreciation for her whilst doing this podcast and just seeing, you know, how great of an actress she really is.
And I think the film ultimately rests on their shoulders, Jason Biggs and Mina Savari. I think if they didn't do a good job, or they didn't come across as well as they do, particularly with their chemistry, the downbeat feel of it could have been quite jarring.
Yeah.
But I think because we have such a lovely, tender love story and that great chemistry at its heart, it still works.
Yeah.
Because you have these three characters of his roommates who are awful, terrible people. Like, genuinely criminals and sex offenders. And it could have felt, and it does to a little bit. I think if it was R-rated, it wouldn't have felt so jarring. But it doesn't feel incredibly, it doesn't ruin the film.
No.
And in doing so, it does speak on the toxic culture of college.
Yeah. And I think, you know, for this podcast, we're talking about sex, friendship, and the American dream. This heavily talks on that. But it's not how a lot of other films do it. It's kind of giving you the dark side of it.
Yeah. The Mina Savari's character, she finds the relationship with the older man. She thinks that an older man has greater maturity, greater intelligence. But all he really does is speak down to her.
Yeah.
And treats her like crap. And I think that's a really interesting play on, actually kind of similar to her character in American Beauty.
Yeah.
In the fact that she finds this older gentleman endearing, when actually he's just a fucking creep.
In many ways, this feels like a continuation of her character in American Beauty.
A little bit.
With where we leave her in that film and where she starts here.
Yeah, not to say she's typecast, but...
No.
Yeah, it's a very quite similar theme. Someone on tough times who's struggling, and an older guy tries to take, and in this case does, take advantage of that.
Yeah. No,
and she's somewhat naive and doesn't really know or notice what's happening.
Yeah.
Because she's also someone that's forced to grow up very quick. She's heavily mothered by her off-screen mother, but she thinks she's a grown-up, i.e. working in a strip club. Can we just say my favourite twink is in this film?
Yeah?
Twink Kaplan.
Who's
wearing an incredible wig as the... I think she's a manager at the strip club that Mina Savari works at. But, you know, Mina Savari, her character, she thinks she's grown up. She's got this sophisticated boyfriend. She works at a strip club. But really, she doesn't know too much. She's kind of just as much of a loser as Jason Biggs in this film, but just in a different way.
It's also a really great looking film as well. We love a New York film. And this film makes New York look gorgeous.
It does. Yeah, love a New York based film.
And again, I know we're going to rate the soundtrack, but the soundtrack is quintessential 2000. And
so 2000.
You know, Teenage Dirtbag has gone on to have a life of its own. And it is one of the cases of a film's song becoming bigger than the film itself.
Yeah, absolutely, massively. Yeah.
You know, it's such a huge part of pop culture now, and, you know, any sort of pop punk throwback night, this song's guaranteed to be playing. You know, wedding bands play it, its cover bands play it in social clubs. You can't get away from this song, even now.
Yeah.
And it's just wild to think it's come from this film, this little hidden gem.
Yes.
But I do love it. And I have I just have a great deal of love for Amy Heckerling. I really think she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's one of my favourite filmmakers.
And I don't think Mina Savari's character would have been as great as she was, and well written as she was, and well developed as she was, if it wasn't for a female writer and director.
Exactly, because she did something similar with Fast Times at Ridgemont High, like real. Dark subject matters wrapped up in a teen comedy with endearing characters. Clueless is probably the most of the films we've seen of hers, and we haven't seen everything, the most light-hearted of
definitely.
the trilogy.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, just Amy Heckerling's such a wonderful filmmaker. I genuinely wish, and maybe this is a spoiler for my rating, but I genuinely wish we would have seen her actual true R-rated
Same.
vision,
Yeah.
because I think I probably would have given the third 5 stars of her
Of
teen
course.
trilogy.
I mean, it is massively misunderstood, and I think that shows in its ratings online. IMDb, it has a 5.4 out of 10, and on Letterboxd, it has a 2.7 out of 5. And I fully blame the marketing. I really do. Like, the R rating thing is a big thing, but also I feel like people were going with different expectations if it wasn't marketed to look like it does. I give it 4.5 out of 5.
I give it 4 out of 5.
Soundtrack rating 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I'm surprised you didn't own this
I'm
soundtrack at
surprised
some point.
I didn't.
I'm sure you certainly will. You've got all of the quintessential teen soundtrack, and apparently Don't Fight It Baby by 5.
Yeah.
What's your favourite?
It's Pretty Fly for a White Guy by The Offspring.
The Offspring. I went with, and this is a little out there, Scarborough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel. Or, because technically it is in the film, Cabaret.
Well, yeah, I was almost going to do that. Yes. Cabaret by Alan Cumming. Fashion rating 6 out of 10, mostly for Mina Savari.
Mina Savari does the whimsy gothic.
Yeah, she
straight
carries
out
the fashion on her back.
Straight out of The Craft. I gave it 4 out of 10. Simply because Jason Biggs swaps one ugly hat for another
Those
ugly
hats
hat.
are horrific. Believable teens mixed.
I'm gonna say not really. I'm not gonna lie, not really.
Not Jason Biggs, Mina Savari?
No. Sorry.
Well, there we go.
Sorry to that pair.
Well, speaking of whimsical gothic, our final film of the episode.
There's nothing whimsical about this film, Jesus.
Our final film of the episode.
Fucking hell.
Our final film of the episode, and throwing it back to Second Sight Films' new standard edition release of the box set, let's talk about Ginger Snap.
Out by 16 or dead in the scene, but together forever. They're just being normal teenage girls.
I'm not dying in this room with you! I'm not dying!
You know, we're almost not even related anymore.
Written and directed by John Fawcett, co-written by Karen Walton, in a second time on this episode, a great example of great female characters written by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Emily Perkins, Catherine Isabel, Chris Lempt, and Mimi Rogers. The premise is 2 death-obsessed sisters, outcast in their suburban neighborhood, must deal with the tragic consequences when one of them is bitten by a deadly werewolf. Now, we can do a real deep dive into this one, especially with some of the trivia. But first of all, let's talk about the effects, because this film is... The practical effects are phenomenal.
Yeah.
For a low-budget Canadian film, incredible. And John Fawcett refused to have CGI. He wanted all of the special creature effects to be done with prosthetics and makeup, and I'm so glad he did. So, Karen Walton was apprehensive about writing the film because of the horror genre's reputation of negatively portraying women. John Fawcett convinced her that the film would break these cliches, so she took the job. It was met with some difficulties when it came to casting.
Okay.
While a casting director was easily found for Los Angeles, Canadian casting directors proved to be appalled by the horror, gore, and language of the film. When one finally agreed to pick up the film, the Columbine shooting and another school shooting in Alberta suddenly thrust a public spotlight on violent teens. The Toronto Star's announcement that Telefilm was funding a teen slasher film met with a flurry of debate and outrage in the media, which generated a significant amount of adverse publicity in proportion to the size of the project. Eventually, Karen Walton singled out and cast Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabel from their audition tape and said that the performances were the exact way she envisioned those characters. And the two were cast as the leads. Now, we are going to come back to that subject of how it plays into what's happening in the world around this time, briefly. Before we do, along with the coincidence of Catherine Isabel and Emily Perkins auditioning on the same day, the two actresses were also born in the same hospital, attended the same preschool, elementary school, and private school, and worked for the same talent agency.
Oh.
So getting on to the release, and then we can do a dive into how it fits into 2000. It premiered at the Munich Fantasy Film Fest in August 2000. The next month it played at the Toronto International Film Festival, where it briefly received media attention following positive word of mouth it had built up from Munich. Although called one of the standouts of Toronto, attention died off and the film followed an unfocused release strategy, playing at various film festivals and building up more word of mouth. Before it was released to Canadian cinemas in May 2001. It grossed Canadian dollars 425,753 domestically, making it the fifth highest grossing Canadian film between December 2000 and November 2001. Despite major success internationally in the UK and Australia as well, Ginger Snap struggled to get noticed in the USA until HBO began airing it in the early 2000s, which was when the film started to pique the interest of North American horror fans. But due to the fact that the film features teenagers in violent situations, the production had difficulty getting funding as well as the casting because of the Columbine massacre and other school shootings. So it was also banned from certain cinemas in the UK in 2001, as it was seen as promoting violence amongst teenagers at that time. However, when the VHS was released later that year, as with the rest of the world, it was one of the fastest selling horror films of that time on physical media.
Nice.
So, definitely a cult film. Massive queer cult following, which we'll get into shortly. Massive hit on physical media. But the timing of it, yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
In what sense?
In the fact that a lot of people were comparing all the violence amongst teens with the Columbine massacre and other school shootings. Do you think a lot of films around this time were affected by that? Because, you know, something like Final Destination is very supernatural. It's violence amongst teens, but it's very supernatural, so it kind of didn't get that same sort of backlash. But this, because it is ultra-violent and it is in a school, you know?
Yeah, I suppose it makes...
I thought having personally, myself, you'd think that having the werewolves in it would kind of remove that, because it does have that element of fantasy there.
Yeah.
But it is an incredibly violent film.
It is, and it's school kids killing other school kids.
Yes.
And you don't really get the it's not a spoiler, I suppose. You don't really get the werewolf until the end. Yeah, I suppose, thinking about it, and also it's a small budget film, so it's an easy target.
It's an easy, especially it's written by a woman as well.
Censoring,
you know?
It's an easy target for those things to be thrown at it, because you're not going to throw it at Scream 3.
No,
you know, you're not gonna. The bigger budget ones, the bigger films, they tend not to get picked on when it comes to these kind of things. They tend not to be the ones that are used as examples of how awful. I do get how they could probably see some reflection of the Columbine shooting within this, but I mean, you could see that in so many teen horror films.
It's true. I think you're absolutely right. I think a low budget horror film written by a woman is such an easy target.
Yeah. Yeah. It always seems to be, doesn't it? You know, when it doesn't have the backing to sort of fight these claims.
Especially when you think of the fact that around the same time that this would have gone into production probably would have been the same time as stuff like Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Yeah.
Which is a teen film and a horror film, and Urban Legends, Final Cut. Again, these are films that were sequels to big hit films. So there's no way they were going to be targeted.
No. But also, I have to say, this is, although darkly comedic, it's a very downbeat film.
Yeah.
It's a very dark film, very angsty. And I think maybe that played into it as well. I think there's darkly comedic parts to it, but not everybody sees that when they watch a horror film. So there's a lot of people who would watch it, and because it is, and see it as wholly bleak and depressing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that plays into it as well.
I think so. The film as a whole, I love it. I love this film. For me, this is in the same way that how Jennifer's Body is Mean Girls but horror.
Yes.
This is Ghost World but horror.
Okay, yes, yeah.
But definitely this is very much the blueprint for Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
And it does what it's trying to do so well. I think it's camp.
At times.
I think, I don't know how intended that would be with how dark it is and stuff. And like you said, I think it's very downbeat, but I also think it's incredibly funny as well. And I love werewolf films. I really love werewolf films. I think we need more of them, and I think this is one of the best.
Yeah, I think there's a nuance to these things about being so bleak, but also not feeling like you're relentlessly slapped around the face with depression. And I think it toes that line really well. And there's some funny bits, but I find that the two central performances, and also Mimi Rogers, her performance really helps to ground the film. And so it doesn't feel like relentlessly depressing.
No.
I love the allegories.
Yeah, it's super queer.
And again, I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf, and it's not something that I myself could maybe speak on. But do you think maybe a trans allegory?
I think 100% a trans allegory. I mean, I read Bridget as queer.
Yeah.
But Ginger, I fully saw her character's progress in this film and where she goes. Fully saw that as a trans allegory. I think the queer allegory as a whole, I feel like it could be people could relate to it from all corners of the community because it is a film about overt characters and people not understanding their differences and such. But I fully believe there is a massive trans allegory in this film.
Yeah, because the two girls, the two sisters, they do reject, in many ways, heteronormative relations.
Yeah.
They seem... and they menstruate quite late. I believe they're 15 and 16, and only Ginger gets her period within the film.
Yeah.
Which is quite late, and that's pointed out in the film. And they feel disgusted by it.
Yeah.
They're disgusted by the change in their body. They feel like rejection of these normal bodily functions, and the fact that once Ginger is on her period, she starts thinking about sex.
Yeah.
And they reject that heteronormative lifestyle. I do also enjoy, and I think this is the campy part, is the whole angstiness of it. It's so angsty. It's almost a parody of angsty teens at times.
Yeah, the fact that they're creating fake suicides.
Yeah, and now I find that darkly comedic.
Yeah.
And it brings up the question. It's like, well, are you angsty because other people are assholes? Or are you the asshole?
Yeah.
Like, are you, they're kind of really mean to their mum.
Uh-huh.
And Mimi Rogers, like I said, is great as their mother. They don't refer to her as mum. They only use her first name, but behind her back.
Yeah.
But she's just trying her damned hardest to push her girls to heteronormativity. She loves them, but she struggles to understand them. And I think a lot of comedy comes from that.
Yes.
But also the fact that they do that the film opens with over the credits photos of their mock suicide attempts.
Yeah.
And they present that to the class as well. And it feels almost like a parody of angsty teens.
It's incredibly post-Scream as well. A lot of the humour parts and the way they talk about werewolves and stuff is very self-referential. It's definitely a product of that. Also, and I noticed this on a rewatch, a lot of similarities to the Lost Boys, with them being siblings and one of them being, turning into a creature.
Yeah, and even trying to help.
Yeah. You can see its influences there, but I feel like it's so refreshing. It feels incredibly original in its execution of what it's trying to do.
Love the cinematography.
Yeah.
I love how they make the town that they live in so dull and beige. It does look like an incredibly boring town, which adds to their angst. They're fed up of this like normal small town. Absolutely. They don't see a reason to live.
Yeah.
Because life is so dull and boring.
Yeah. Which is an interesting side of teen cinema from this era, because it's something like, especially this is the first one in the 2000s where we see downbeat teen life. I mean, we dealt with that a lot in some of the earlier episodes of the 90s, but this is your first real look at where gothic teens would go.
Yeah, because it is a subculture, and I feel like, I suppose the closest that we've discussed so far is maybe The Craft.
Yes.
But that is...
That felt polished compared to
this. It did. This feels a little more real. Yeah. This feels a little more, despite being a werewolf film, maybe a little more human.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the two central performances.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really did. Can I just confirm in your research...
Do I have anything about the wig? No.
No. We know it was a wig, though.
It has to be a wig.
It's definitely a wig. Emily Perkins, if there's one thing, and it makes it quite camp, but if there's one thing that is maybe a little distracting, it's Emily Perkins' wig, which is incredible, considering the werewolf special effects are so good. Yeah. They couldn't get a decent wig for Emily Perkins. I'm sorry.
Well, it has an IMDb rating of 6.8 out of 10, Letterboxd rating of 3.7 out of 5. I gave it 5 out of 5.
I gave it 4.5 out of 5, which I know I've just praised it massively. I do think the ending was maybe a little long.
Well, it has a soundtrack rating. I give it 10 out of 10.
Ooh, 10 out of 10.
Incredible score. As far as needle drops go, best song for me is Cloning Technology by Fear Factory.
Yeah, amazing score. Very in keeping with that subculture with its metal soundtrack. I'm a fairly big Killswitch Engage fan, so I enjoyed Temple from the Within by Killswitch Engage.
Fashion rating...
just to say, what is your history with this film, actually?
I remember my parents talking about it. I remember, as I said in the trivia, it was really big in the UK.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone was talking about it. My parents had been to see it at the cinema. I just remember it being a big discussion.
But you didn't
watch it until we watched it.
We watched it for the first... you watched that with me.
Yeah.
I remember watching it. It must have been on TV back in the day. Maybe the Horror Channel... I'd assume it'd be Horror Channel. It's got Horror Channel written all over it. And I remember really enjoying it. And then we watched it together and I was like, oh yeah, that was good, that was. And then we did the rewatch with the fantastic new Blu-ray from Second Sight. And we were like, oh wow, no, this is really fantastic. And I think we looked at it from a different angle. I think we realised the nuances and looked at it I think sometimes realizing that a film is written by a woman helps you understand the
does.
themes better.
Yeah.
And just somebody saying, yeah, I think this is a queer allegory.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wow, this
Mhm.
is taking on a whole new meaning to me now.
Yeah. Fashion rating, 9 out of 10.
I give it 7 out of 10.
I mean, specifically Ginger's outfits.
Yes,
are incredible.
she does. After her Jennifer's body transformation,
Yeah.
she looks great. I can't forgive that wig.
That is, yeah.
Mimi Rogers as well. See, I love
Yes.
her. They're kind of bright, but it's very mum outfits. It's got like teddy bears on, and she likes putting stuff in her hair.
Yeah.
And I love her character and her the way that her fashion informs her characters.
Believable teens. I think yes.
Yes, I actually do. Yeah. Oh, a fun little fact: Catherine Isabel was 3 years younger than Emily Perkins, despite playing the older sister. Yeah. But yeah, both very believable.
Okay, so as we come to an end of part 1 of the year 2000, let's have some honourable mentions, or a dishonourable mention, maybe, with Down to You.
Yeah.
Do you remember how I said I love films set in New York?
Yes.
Romantic comedies?
This was set in
Not
New
this.
York. This was a teen comedy take, we believe, and people online believe as well, of Woody Allen.
Yeah, and it does not work.
Oh my god, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. I have no idea what they're going for. The characters are really unlikable. Julia Stiles and Freddie Prinze Jr. have no chemistry whatsoever.
Their performances are awful.
They're just talking shit.
Like, how do we go from Julia Stiles and 10 Things I Hate About You to Julia Stiles in this?
Yeah. Like, it's just so messy. I didn't get it.
Really, really bizarre film.
Yeah.
Just not good.
And I feel like it was going for wacky, but it was just real cringe. Really, really cringe.
We also watched an extremely goofy movie.
Yes.
A solid sequel that gives us one of the coolest Disney characters of all time, the Beret Girl.
Yes.
She doesn't deserve a name, apparently, but
no,
she's incredible.
The Beret Girl.
Goofy has an acid trip.
He does. Yeah, it's kind of a weird film, but also really heartwarming, and it's so strange to think of Goofy being the one that they chose to be like a father figure in two films. Like I really don't understand, but it works. Like really works.
Yeah, really great. Really great soundtrack.
Yeah, just as good as the first one.
Yeah. I mean, the first one will always have a special place in my heart.
Yeah. This is the first time
I've seen a sequel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gossip, which I loved. Surprisingly intense. I was expecting camp, but I got intense. Really stylish, surprisingly serious. Just a really fantastic thriller.
Yeah, a very stylish.
Exists because of Cruel Intentions and Wild Things, but also was shot before, which is wild.
Shot in 1998.
Yeah.
Introduced lots of sort of famous actors. A slick, sexy thriller.
Yes,
as they would say.
Slick, sexy, hip,
Hip
stylish
is the word. Hip, cool,
very,
sexy
very
thriller.
Sexy. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really well shot. I thought the twists and turns were great.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it a lot more than I perhaps expected.
Yeah, it left me with a few questions, but who cares? You know, I had a fun time with it.
And finally, speaking of Cruel Intentions, Cruel Intentions 2.
Oh.
Now I have a confession to make. I think it's finally time I went public with this. When me and Chris first started the Horror Cult Trash Ever podcast, we discussed this on episode 33.
Yes.
And when we discussed it, I was just as bored as I was whilst watching the film, and I actually fell asleep whilst recording the podcast.
You did.
I managed to pull it back, and I managed to pretend it never happened. So if you can go back and find a spot where it happened, good for you. But I wouldn't recommend doing so. It's a fucking abysmal film. It completely misunderstands what made the first film work so well. And because of that, what you get is an absolute mess. And it's shocking because it's the same director.
Yeah, Roger Kumble, I think potentially he's a one-hit wonder because a lot of his
Sweet
films...
Thing.
That was panned massively.
But we enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. And ironically.
But yeah, no, I can confirm he did Furry Vengeance and Just Friends, and both of those are awful.
But yeah, Cruel Intentions 2, I had this on VHS. Like, I watched this a lot growing up.
Mm.
And then we rewatched it for the podcast, and we didn't rewatch it for this episode. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird. But not very good.
No.
Very strange.
We will find out by the end of the season if Cruel Intentions 3 is any better.
Oh god, yeah.
But yes, that is part 1, and you can find us on all social media by searching the name of the podcast, and you can go give us a rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to us. We're very grateful. For part 2, we will be discussing Kevin and Perry Go Large, Cherry Falls, Bring It On, Almost Famous, Battle Royale, Billy Elliot, Urban Legends Final Cut, Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th, and Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
That's a mixed bag there.
That's quite the mixed bag.
That's wild.
I feel like we're seeing the decline now.
Do you think? Okay. Yeah. Maybe.
I'm only saying that because of... Actually, no, do you know what? I take that back. I remember we rewatched Book of Shadows and we really enjoyed it.
I think what we're getting into now, though, is the throwaway sequels.
Yes.
Like, we've discussed Cruel Intentions 2.
Yeah.
This episode. But I think what we're getting... And because Scream 2 and Scream 3 are memorable, but I think you're getting the... Let's get this out whilst people still remember the first film kind of sequels.
I do remember Book of Shadows being announced by the time the first one was released on physical media.
Urban Legend Final Cut. You know, we've discussed I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, but we're at this point now where there's going to be a lot of throwaway films to discuss.
Yeah. Well, we'll be discussing them in the same time, same place in 2 weeks' time.
Bye.